Christ is the Answer Ministry, CITAM, has been quite involved in issues that are pertaining to the Constitution of Kenya since the promulgation. Just before then, we actually formed what was called the Kenya Church that used to meet here in CITAM Valley Road. And through that initiative, we pointed out areas in our constitution that were like lacuna. There were gaps in those areas. Our desire was that those areas would be amended so that we'll have a wholesome constitution that actually takes care of Kenya both morally and socially and in other dimensions as well. Those who were in authority then rejected our attempts, and so the church mobilized into what became known as the no vote. And we went ahead and voted against the Constitution. However, the church was not successful, and so the Constitution was adopted. Now, although it was adopted, those areas that we felt were actually loopholes and gaps still existed. And 14 years down the road, those areas have been used now to introduce, to officially introduce gay rights in Kenya. By the ruling of the court that took place on Friday, where the court ordered that the NGO board should actually register gay movements and gay organizations based on the argument of it's their rights of association, because that's enshrined within the Constitution. Now, what we are wondering for many of us is whether the rights of association has any limitation, particularly when it comes to issue like sodomy, homosexuality, which is criminalized in the country. And yet here the court is actually ruling they should be registered, and yet it is criminalized in our penal codes. So the question that we are asking is, should other institutions or should other entities which are also criminalized also be allowed and given the opportunity to be registered? But how far will we go? Will we then register rapists? Will we register pedophiles? Will we register those who are involved in incest? That there has to be a sense of moral responsibility and authority that people who are enshrined with the responsibility like the Supreme Court should actually not just vote because they're arguing it from a loophole within the Constitution, but they should vote knowing what is best for the country when they are actually writing their judgments. We appreciate the two judges that actually did not agree with going that direction, either because of their faith or because of their personal convictions. We really commend them and appreciate them for that. But as a result of that, here we are in Kenya in a situation now where in the next few days or few weeks, if I understand what is going on in that world, we will see a number of these groups rushing to be registered, and we cannot say no because the Supreme Court has ruled that it is enshrined within our Constitution. My prayer is that all Kenyans would resist this, because although we do not hate people who practice their sexual feelings in other ways. We have people who practice their sexual feelings in heterosexual way. We have others who practice their sexual feeling, as we have said, in homosexual way. We've even others who say their preference would be children, pedophiles. Others who would say their preference would actually be animals, bestiality. But it does not mean that all of them would require authority, a kind of authoritarian authority from the nation. What these three judges have done is that now 40 million Kenyans or 50 million Kenyans have now endorsed this lifestyle because of the ruling of these judges. And some of us are saying that's not our stand. Secondly, as Christians, we do have our Bible, and the scripture has several verses. Romans chapter 1, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9, Leviticus chapter 18, all verses which actually condemn homosexuality. So as Christians, for us to endorse that is simply to go contrary to our faith and our moral principles. And so we would say people of moral virtue or moral principle should actually resist this judgment. And we are continuing to appeal, especially to the Attorney General, who would have the ability to perhaps bring this matter again to the Supreme Court for a revisitation, to do so that we may have a revisitation in this matter, so that it may not actually be part and parcel of our lifestyle. And our prayer is that we would see this coming to an end. And a final one is that people who may be struggling with this area ought to know that as a church we love them. We have a counseling center in all in our church here at CITAM Valley Road and all our other CITAM churches, and we are willing to actually meet with and counsel with and walk with anyone who is struggling in this area. Not just willing, we have done this before, and I know of people that we have helped to walk this journey. And so we would say, if you're struggling in this journey, the church will walk with you. We will love you. If a person says they are dead, we should not kill them. If a person says they are mad, we should not retain them and do something wrong for them. There are people who need help, and we need to help these people so that actually they would be stabilized and live normal lives.
Came out, so the points where the church came in and spoke about it.